We always warm up the body before we start a yoga practice, just to make sure that things are moving, we've got enough heat, and that the muscles and joints are ready to engage. This month, in April, we continue with some of the practices that we did in March, but we add and shift and change. March and April are very much aligned with the season of autumn, for us at least here in Australia, and so we move with that theme of change and movement, fluidity and flexibility. I'm kneeling, and you can kneel too if you like, or if you prefer to sit cross-legged, that would be absolutely fine. And we start a simple breathing sequence, linking our breath and our movement together. So taking a big breath in, opening the arms out wide. Exhaling, bringing the hands together. Inhale, lift the hands above the head. Exhale, rest the hands. Inhale, open elbows, maybe look up to the ceiling if it's comfortable for your neck. Exhale, drop chin, elbows together. But be mindful not to pull on the head. Very gently breathing in, opening the arms. Breathing out, bringing the hands together. Inhale, lift fingertips. Exhale, rest hands. Inhale, open elbows. Exhale, gently drop the chin. Inhaling, opening. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, lift. Exhale, rest. Inhale, open and lift. Exhale, curl and tuck. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Very gently open up. Lift the fingertips out and down. Maybe roll through the shoulders. Turn the head from side to side. So from here, we're going to move through an extension and a flexion of the spine. So as we breathe in, we open the arms, and as we bring it out, we bring the back hands to touch, tuck the chin, roll over the tailbone and arch the back. Let's do that again. Breathing in, expansive, extension. Breathing out, curl, round. Gently rolling in, flexion. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Coming to sit nice and tall, and as you feel ready, we're going to move into a position on our hands and knees. So making sure that your knees are stacking underneath your hips and your hands are basically underneath your shoulders. That's a nice supported position with the body, making sure our joints are aligned. I always include the cat-cow sequence in any yoga practice that I do, as I think it's such an important check-in to make sure that our spine is flowing and create a little bit more movement and mobility through the spine. As you breathe in, drop the belly, lift the chin. As you breathe out, tuck the chin and arch the back. Rolling the hips forward if it's comfortable, opening the chest up gently. Rolling the spine in the opposite direction, tucking the chin and lifting through the shoulder blades. Moving with your time, inhaling, finding the extension as you extend the chest forward. Exhaling, finding the flexion as you tuck the chin and arch the back. Rolling forward one more time, breathing in and gently arching the back, breathing out. Finding a neutral position here with the spine, a nice box, if you will. We've got our navel drawing up into the spine, so we've got a strong, engaged core. We're going to move the hands roughly a hand length forward here, and just lean the hips forward a little bit as well. So keeping that shoulder and elbow and wrist alignment, so joints one stacking on top of the other. And then from here, we're going to point our fingers in towards one another. So the fingers are going to point towards the middle of the mat. And when you're ready, take a big breath in, and as you breathe out, just lowering the chin and the chest towards the floor. Breathing in, lift, and breathing out, lower. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Being mindful to keep the navel engaged with the spine as you gently lift and lower a couple more times. Breathing in and breathing out. Lifting up and walking the hands back towards the knees and coming to a kneeling position. So last time we worked through a sequence where we were moving in these lovely big rounding movements in march. We're going to continue with that sequence and add a little bit of extension. Please be mindful of your body, move safely, and if the extension doesn't feel comfortable, just come back to the original flow of the movements. So here, let's reach out through the right leg and plant the sole of the foot flat to the floor. Outside edge of the foot is parallel to the short edge of your mat as the toes point forward. Taking your hand, now this is where you might need something like a big thick book or block. You can always take your hand down to the block or directly to the floor. So reaching the hand down to the floor, so the left hand comes down to the floor, and then from here reaching the right fingertips up. So this is what we call a supported side plank position. You might just take a nice slow breath here, in and out. And then we can turn this into a supported half moon pose by simply lifting our back right heel up off the floor. Now see how my toes are flexing? So it's not a floppy foot, not a floppy leg. We want those toes flexing forward, pushing out through the heel. Maybe looking up the fingertips. Now if this is too much for you, you can always lower the leg a little bit closer to the floor. So finding a position in the pose that's comfortable for you, and then resting the foot down onto the floor, taking the hand to the hip and reaching all the way up and over and across the body. Finding a lovely extension now through the left side of the body, maybe gazing underneath that left armpit. We're going to flow through those three movements, taking the hand up, finding your supported side plank, and then engaging, breathing in, lifting and opening into that supported half moon. On the exhale, drop the foot, sweep the hands up and across. And then taking a nice long breath in, finding a full sweeping movement here. Exhaling, reaching down and across. One more time. Breathing in, lifting and extending through fingers and feet. Breathing out, finding that lateral stretch through the left side of the body. And then coming here back to a central position. You might just sit down on the knees or in a cross-legged position, resting fingers on your thighs. Take a centering breath in and a calming breath out. Let's move to the other side. If you were using your block, take your block over to the other side ready. Otherwise, hand flat on the floor is totally fine. All our bodies are a little bit different, and I know I really like to have the support of the block. Let's reach the left foot out this time, remembering the toes are pointing forward. Outside edge of the foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat, and the whole sole of the foot is flat to the floor. Keep the hips pushing forward here as you flatten the hand. So it's really important that the hand is fully flat and that that whole side of the body here is fully supported. If you've got any space between the palm of the hand, then you don't have a lot of support here, especially taking the weight from the shoulder down. So hand is flat, which is why the block can be really handy if you struggle to reach the floor. Fingertips up, stretching all the way up, hips pushing forward, maybe gaze towards the raised ceiling, the raised fingers towards the ceiling. And then if that's feeling good, you can lift the leg. Remember, we flex the toes. So the toes push forward, the heel pushes out, lifting and opening. Remember, you can always lower the leg if that feels better for you. And breathing here in our supported half moon pose. And when you feel ready, taking the foot to the floor, we're going to sweep all the way up and across, gazing underneath the left armpit this time, keeping the hips pushing forward, finding that extension, that lateral stretch all the way through the right side of the body. And then now let's flow. Taking a nice breath in, lifting and extending. Long breath out. as we take the lateral stretch. Breathe in, extend. Breathe out, stretch and reach. Inhaling, exhaling. Coming back to a neutral position, maybe sitting on the knees, maybe sitting cross-legged, whatever's comfortable. Let's take a centering breath in, a calming breath